Okay, welcome everybody to the October 20th Rec Commission meeting. This is our October meeting that had to be rescheduled from the first Monday of the month, so apologies for any inconveniences. I do not have the agenda in front of me. I know Sanjay did send minutes over to you and I, Ray. Were those distributed to everybody?
I believe so.
Did everybody get a chance?
That says no.
All right, let's just table the minute approval until next meeting then.
Okay.
And then do you want to just walk us through the agenda, Ray, here?
Sure. Would you like to move for what the four things on the agenda are the Cherry Hill Working Group, Cherry Hill off-season programming, which I could definitely push off. That's just an update on what's going on at Cherry. It's really a segue into the next piece. But the Cherry Hill Working Group, Cherry Hill off-season programming, Groff Park, and the CPA discussion. Um, uh, Andrew sort of mentioned pushing the CPA discussion up to the front. We do have Amy with us, I believe. No, not right now, but we do have Amy with us.
Okay, yeah, I think that's the most time sensitive one, just making sure that Jonas as our rep has a full understanding of what we're talking about, what we're hoping to.
I'll need to have Amy here with me for that.
All right, then let's hit Cherry.
Here's Amy.
Let's just do Cherry Hill super fast. Committee's been formed. Let's see if we can wrap that up in a couple minutes.
Okay, so the Cherry Hill Working Group, we have finalized the list of 7 people on the working group. We originally posted for 5. The pool was very strong. We thought that we had a pretty strong pool of candidates for the working group. We have our 2 representatives who were confirmed at our last meeting. Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you, Chris. And both have confirmed their position. My last check was at the end of last week. We were waiting for one person to officially get back to us, but we think that they will definitely they'll definitely be okay with it when they get the message, whatever. But all the other people had confirmed, some of them emphatically. And so the next thing that we do is going to be, we're putting together a packet for that group. We're going to do an introductory meeting for the 7 and let them start to move through some of the process. Share with them a little bit about what the current state is, about what our history is, about what our budget is. We're gonna basically create a uniform starting point for folks to be able to get in and get their hands dirty a little bit. And so that the timeline, we're looking at hopefully having recommendations in by the early spring. And that was part of the interviews, which Chris and Sanjay didn't have to go through the interviews here, but we would like to be able to get the recommendations of the group in by the early spring. We would like to be able to have all of this to inform the decisions for the budget next year, for the town manager to be able to look at it and assess and find out what we're doing for the end of the year budget as we get ready to embark on FY27. It does straddle our off season, which is, I think, good research time. I think it gives us a chance to look at some of the preparation, which is when particularly the ground side of operations there. I think that's when a lot of those, like the weight of our split budget, having it start in the we're in the middle of our season when the fiscal year flips. So
Miles wants to go kick field goal though.
The end of one year and then a break and then the beginning of the next year are in one fiscal year. I think the timing works for us. I'm excited to get started. I know that after all the patience that the people who've been in it from the beginning, our 2 folks, I think the patience that people showed is now looking at fruit. Questions?
Very good. Thank you, Chris. Sanjay, do you 2 have anything to share? All right.
I have a question though, actually. Ray, will there be a chair of the working group or will it be, how's the leadership?
think
in a way?
so. I haven't, uh, at first, I think like I had an idea of who I wanted to put forward as a chair. We didn't share that with that person. Um, um, uh, and I don't know if that's our place. I'll find that out. We'll let you all know that if it's something for the working group to determine, or if it's something that we should appoint somebody or put somebody in that position. I think it'd probably be better if it came from the working group itself. But
And
we
is
do
there
have,
apologies if you said this already, is there a representative or representatives of town government or administration on the committee, or is it
it
all
is this,
citizens?
it's the 7 citizens
Okay.
on the working group, plus Dave and myself
Yep.
are the staff liaisons
Okay.
with access to Jose and John, who operate the clubhouse and the fields and also to the finance department. One person for finance department, probably Leah Carver, but I don't know that for sure.
Okay. But the town, you use the word liaison, so you will not be involved in
Voting,
writing or approving
writing,
the report. The report is going to come from the
correct,
seven citizens.
correct.
Okay. Thanks, Ray.
Thank you. You're welcome. Looking forward to it.
All right. The only other thing I was going to say on that, just so folks know, is because there were so many interested candidates, Ray and I were going to connect later this week or next week to see whether any of them might be viable to invite to join the rec commission. Also, anyone from the public who may be listening, we are 2 members short, and we would love to get us fully staffed.
I've spoken to a couple of youth sport parents about potentially pulling them aboard. Um, um, I I have no qualms about sharing that we would love to find women, at least one woman to serve here. Uh, but I mean, send us anybody that you can think of if there are people that are on your mind.
Especially with Matt on the other side of the world for the rest of the year. We'll need to make sure that only gives us 1 extra slot, I think, right? So, yeah, let's all try to focus on getting us staffed up. Great. All right. Amy's on. Shall we shift over to CPA projects?
Sounds good. Hi, Amy.
Hi,
Uh,
do you
we-
want to start and I'll just chime in, or how do you want to do all the CPA fun?
So I can, what would help us? I can start by saying that there are 2 projects that are recreation
Oh,
department centered.
Can I just say, I'm sorry to
Yes.
interrupt, but if there is like a screen share would be useful here. If there's any materials that, might help ground us, I don't know what we have. It may not be relevant, but if there are any, if you could just pull them up, that'd be great.
I've got the folder of all the PDFs, but I don't know if I can share.
Yeah, and I
Uh,
don't think like right now for the CPA, all we did was it's kind of like a verbal written description of the projects. And so I think
Okay.
the next phase where we have to present to the CPA, that's where there's more visual materials.
Okay, that sounds
We're,
good.
I
we're
have,
Yeah.
waiting
Well-
for some of the packet information from the CPA committee also, just for our sake, we can sort of give you an understanding of what the projects are that we're putting forward.
Yeah.
sorry, I'm
Um,
confused. Can you hear me, by the way?
I can.
Okay, so I've got PDFs with a folder of like 25 PDFs that have diagrams, schematics of pickleball or memorial. Is that something we don't want to see now?
I mean, if we want to put them, I guess if you want to put them up there, I don't know what they're gonna, I guess let's see what questions come up, but Ray, go ahead.
Okay. So Jonas just shared the 2 major projects that we put forward as recreation centered large issues. One of them is War Memorial. Um, the War Memorial Pool, which is we've been in this position before. We've talked about CPA with that position. The remodel there came up last year. We were able to secure some funds last year, and when it when the cost of that project came back considerably more. I know I'm telling you all what you already know. When the cost of that project came back significantly more than what we had anticipated and budgeted in, we knew that that project was going to be tabled for some time as we tried to figure out what we were doing with the design. Um, and so what we've decided to do this year is to ask for for essentially the balance to complete that uh, uh, to complete that process for one of the estimates that we're looking at for War Memorial. Um, uh, we've been working with Kuth Raniere to work on modifying some of our intended plans. We've looked at options that we have of of different cost saving plans on the pool house. We are looking, obviously, the conversation that is going to be coming back up, and the Rec Commission should be aware of. The conversation that will come back up again is with that steep cost and with the issue of of us using CPA money or requesting CPA money for it. Do we need two pools in operation? We know we want it. We know that what the benefits are of it. Do we need those two pools at the expense of all the other projects that are in place? Our internal programming has feelings on that matter, but this is a conversation that will certainly be coming up in CPAC, will be coming up in the decisions that we make here, and obviously will take us out of CPA into a larger conversation with town manager and town council. But the state of that pool house it definitely needs some work. It needs some repair. It needs some design. Even if it was clean, it needs some design work in terms of access. Uh, that we've carried it into working condition for the last few years. Certainly, even before I came, like we've been constantly putting band-aids on it. That whether or not we are able to demolish and rebuild and recenter and relocate, that's the next issue. That's the next question. But we have asked CPA uh, um, for the funds that get us to the building project here. We're going to have to push for. We're going to have to make an argument for that pool house through this process. Amy, numbers.
Sorry, you want me to throw the numbers out?
And Jonas
got-
actually has them.
I was like, Jonah has the exact number because I don't think I have the exact proposal, but I think you laid it out pretty good. I mean, we are at we either need to decide that we're going to invest in two pools and be serious about it, or the town needs to decide that it only wants one pool and let this one go. Yeah.
Ray, Amy, if I could.
Sanjay.
Yeah. To get to that point, Amy, are there code or like what is it about the state of the pool house that could lead to discontinued access to the pool?
Yeah, so there's the Kuth Raniere report lays this out much better than I can, but the general overview, like there are regulations in terms of you need to have, shower facilities, changing facilities, restroom facilities
Sure.
in order to have a pool.
Sure.
And presumably you should also have some place out of the sun and away from the swimmers for like a lifeguard to, take their breaks and not still be kind of on the clock. That part is a little, that we will admit that there's no code that says that, but certainly logistically that's what you need. And so, like Ray was saying, like part of the process that we've been in, like I nearly had a heart attack as well as everyone else when we got the initial costing on this. And so we've been doing everything we can to say, where can we cut corners? What can we strip down? But the building right now, 75 years old. So we've got some foundation issues that have to be
Okay.
addressed. This is if we're in the existing building. We've got a
Yep.
failing roof
Okay.
that needs to get redone.
And that's
Plumbing isn't
structure-
up
and
to
that's
code.
on the roof, is it structural or like reshingling or something like that?
A bit of both.
A bit of both,
A lot of
okay.
it is just re-shingling, but
Yep.
yeah, there's a hole in our roof right
Okay.
now that had a tarp over it all
Yeah,
summer.
okay.
Tarp blew off about a month ago, so that was an unsuccessful fix. Yeah, and then I mean the other thing that we run into, and this is actually similar to the DPW building, is the unfortunate thing is at some point when you do a certain amount of repairs, there's some formula where,
Right.
like if it equals a certain percentage of the value of the building, then you have to come up to fire code and
Yep.
ADA and all those other things.
Yep.
This building is so devalued that it doesn't take much to trip those triggers. And unfortunately, that's what's all of these things are adding to the cost, but it's really about a place to change, a place to shower, and a place to go to the bathroom for the users of the pool. Like that's the code that's driving it.
Thanks, Amy. I will comment. I use the War Memorial Pool. My family uses it. The building is not nice. And yet people go into the locker rooms and get into bathing suits and go to the pool, which is nice because of an investment that the town decided to make 7 or 8 years ago. Less than that. Anyway,
A couple. It's been a couple.
there have been a couple
There've
of
been a couple
it.
phases
It
here. I
just
know
got
it's
like totally relined, and all of that was this past
yeah.
summer.
But there was a time longer ago when there was serious discussion of closing Ort Memorial.
Yeah, about a decade ago,
Okay.
we
I
think it was
redid
about 2
all the
years.
filtration equipment.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just want us to be aware, and sort of I'm speaking to the ether a little bit here, right? But I want us to be aware, and I'm glad that Amy is hearing this, and that Ray is hearing this, that there's this like facilities arms race that goes on amongst towns. And this idea that you can't have a facility unless it is the gold standard of facilities. And Amy, I know that the DPW is not chasing gold standards of things, that you are trying to best do what you can within the fiscal constraints of the town and all of the other things that you can do. But the consultants that we hire may not have that view in general. And I just want I want to say that out loud. I want to say that out loud. That with
Understood.
recreational facilities, there is this arms race amongst towns, and it's often driven by consultants who recommend things that they know that they will not have to pay for. And that's all I have to say about that. But let's keep War Memorial open somehow. Even if it's with a pool house that not everybody loves in the end. If it's a new pool house that is value engineered down to bare bones, maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's already been done. If it's Band-Aids or gauze pads or whatever on the existing pool house. But let's resist the temptation to get involved in the arms race. The facilities arms race.
Understood. I agree. I mean, if I'm speaking honestly, part of my frustration with the cost tag is that it has less of a shot of moving forward. Like I want a more realistic approach that is doable, and then we can all move on. I don't want something that we have to work as hard to push through, and that at times is in competition with all of the other projects. The lower the cost, the more likely that, that we can move on, that we continue to have this facility, that, Denise continues to bring all the great programs to it and all of that. So I 100% hear you, Sanjay.
I have a sort of maybe this question is way too detailed, but could you make it smaller by not having separate male and female bathrooms, just having stalls for changing and stalls for bathrooms?
So that's one of the things that we looked at, actually.
And that didn't help
It doesn't bring the size down significantly.
enough. Okay.
Enough. I know we looked at that because we also feel like that's like in the ethos of the town of Amherst and not having to have gendered bathrooms and having, you know, more.
Yeah, and having showers just on the exterior wall.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
those are all have been looked at in options.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, I say this to say, like, there might be something that we didn't look at because we did try to turn over every single thing we possibly could. But like, if you have ideas like that, keep throwing them out there because I'd love to find something that we hadn't thought of that may get us there. So keep them coming.
So what's the ask for this round, Jonas?
Do you mean what the town is asking, or what
Yes.
I need
What
as the CPAC?
What the town is asking?
Did you see the share? I tried to share. Was it up there?
It
Oh,
shared for a bit and then it
sure.
went back
Or
down.
like a bit, like 2 minutes?
You
that
were
was
showing
that was the budget. That
That was
the
the
budget.
cost estimate from P&M.
So, but
what-
there's
I can scroll. I mean, when I share, all my controls go away. I wasn't sure if
Okay.
anything. I can share again. Shall I do that?
I think it's
I
Ray.
was
Do you
just
recall?
I
I
was
think
just
it's one
saying
and a half.
the CPE grant ask.
Yeah.
And another 1.5 million
Yep.
on top of the like million plus that's already been granted. So that's okay, but then I thought you were trying to make up a bunch with grants.
That is what we hope, but let's say we don't get one of those grants and then we don't get that money from CPA or whatever. Does the project fail because we're shy?
Right.
Not saying I agree with this strategy. I'm just saying this is the strategy I was told to go with for what it's
By
worth.
Dave.
I'm not throwing names out there. I'm just saying this is what, as a town employee, I am told to present. Yes, we are hoping to apply for grants. It's just we didn't want the success of the project to hinge on success or non-success of a grant. So
The amount is 1.5, and I have the submission form here.
Okay. Wow.
do we want to
You
go
gonna-
on to the next fun topic?
Sure. That's
Any
going to be an
other,
interesting discussion in the CPA committee if you're going to spend the entire basically CPA budget on the pool house on top of funding the. Yeah,
Yep.
I think that's going to be a hard sell for some members of the CPA committee.
Understood.
the other project that we have, if I may move on, the other project that we are introducing is similar to a much smaller scale, is pickleball. They're similar. It's like it's a smaller version of the pool house. What pickleball does for us is we are comfortable right now. The one thing that is now, it's like our coming out party here. Groff Park is the site. Some of you all probably knew that we were talking about Groff Park before when we wouldn't mention it. We have done outreach with the Groff community a little bit. That outreach was not particularly, it wasn't emphatically for. There was some resistance in the community to it. So that will be a hurdle that we have to face again in terms of messaging inside the community. But the targeted space and I think in many ways the last of our public spaces, last of our public options. It's shared here in the north side of Groff Park. The last viable option for us in terms of town space is this back corner of Groff Park, which is above the splash park and a considerable amount of distance away from Mill Lane. And so, yes, it poses some of the issues without, when we looked at Kiwanis before and citing it in an area that does have a large number of houses inside of a short radius. The siting issues here, we hope, are solved by the location at the north end of this field. The typical distance cushion. This is outside. There's one or two houses that are there's one house that is inside of the radius of our operating radius, and it's flat space. So we are doing our due diligence of making sure that we have a sound study come out and look and see what the effect will be and what potential mitigation options we have in this space to try and reduce any impact of the noise. But it is sited a far enough distance away that we're pretty optimistic that this is our public site. It's not the ideal of Mill River for a long time for us was that it is very similar in its orientation as tennis and basketball in terms of being drop-in sports that aren't necessarily revenue. They're courted sports that people show up, play a little pickup. You can run clinics and tournaments there, but really it's a recreational space for people to drop in and use. And so it fit as cousins. It fit the type of activity that was at Mill River in a particular way. Here, it becomes an extension of the Groff Park family space of the pavilions and the splash park, and it basically becomes a space nestled in a different type of recreational activity. When the splash park opened, Groff Park changed. When the splash park opened, Groff Park now has become, in many ways, a recreational center in the summer times. And we're thinking this is another phase in that. This is part of a larger, I'm taking care of one other of the agenda items here, but this also takes care of a number of different projects that we're looking at Groff. None of them has the level of impact that pickleball has in terms of like how many ears perk up when we say it. But looking at ADA compliance, which has been a concern for Groff for a long time, especially as it looks at the lower pavilion area. Looking at ADA compliance down to lower pavilion and ADA compliance in through the parking lot off of Mill Lane. Both of those are a matter of social access concerns that have been raised for a while and have limited our ability to develop or do anything new out there because of access issues. We have the existing project of the softball field rehabilitation that the field that you see in the south end of this field, the upper field here, is due to be treated, is due to get a little bit of care, and we would like to be able to put softball back on our business radar. We had to. It's a number of different reasons. One of them was field condition, but we would like to be able to put softball back on our programming radar this year. And so this, along with the rehabilitation projects at Kiwanis and Community Field, this is another piece that potentially livens up Groff and brings new energy to what we're doing there. The splash park, of course, remains. It's sort of the feature attraction. This project we decided to put into CPA to look. The reason why Groff, despite its convenience, the reason why it wasn't one of our first options is because building the access to get out there and then building the ADA access once it's built there. That makes this a more expensive build uh, than building in the parking lot of Mill River, which was the original proposal. Building in the parking lot and losing parking spaces and sort of taking flat space and a space that we already have, and we already have access to. That was a much cheaper process. It was a much cheaper project proposal. And so the money that we got for that original ask is now less than the project cost. That project cost is being asked for in CPA this year.
Right. Is that a new backstop for a softball diamond?
That is a very old backstop.
Oh, is that just an image? That's actually part of the image. That's not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a very old backstop back there.
I didn't even realize it's back there. Okay.
I believe Dave will definitely tell you about it. I think Dave hit a game-winning home run out there on that field
But,
at
I
some
mean,
point.
just to clear, we're not putting a backstop there.
No.
Okay.
No. Now, what could happen out of the sound study, what could happen out of our mitigation issues, we might find ourselves constructing a soundproof fence on that south end of the courts there, uh, that help limit the projection of sound out towards Mill Lane to the south of this.
I have a couple of questions.
Matt?
So based on looking at the topographic map, it looks like there's about a 3-foot grade from left to right, east to west on those 3 courts. So you're gonna like take the dirt from one side and put it to the other to make a flat area for the 3 courts. Is that what you're proposing?
That field there, Amy, I, I'm not the expert. Please stop me before I say anything wrong. But that field there feels flat. Where's the 3-inch grade? I mean, the 3-foot grade.
Well, I'm just looking at the topographic map on the town GIS. I don't know if it's accurate.
Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe it's not
Matt, I
accurate.
mean, you're talking way specifics in the weeds that are not
Okay.
fully designed at this point. If you
But
recall
you believe it's pretty flat there.
we think it's flat enough that we can overcome a little bit of
Okay.
grade there. But we are
Okay.
having, if you recall this past year, we got funding for a survey of Groff. And so we're going to have really good numbers out of that. The survey hasn't happened
Yeah.
for us to
Right.
do like the fine tuning, but this is also just a schematic and, the courts may
Right.
move, slightly in any direction, but that's kind of the general placement.
Now that you put the path all the way from Mill Lane, is that better than doing it from, near where the paths already are around the
That is a
So-
construction
splash pad?
path.
Yeah,
That-
that path is just to get construction equipment in because we're not going to get the equipment coming through the
Okay.
splash pad in the playground area.
So the
there will
access
be
path could be separate.
the
We've-
ADA path to get up there for people to actually access it. Yeah, will be from the
Switch back
the
behind
splash
that.
pad
Ah.
area,
Oh, okay.
or from behind the pool or whatever the pool house,
The
the
pump
concession
house.
stand
Bathroom.
there. Yeah, the bathroom.
Toilet block.
Yeah, so.
Okay. All right.
We talked about if we like that construction path, does that become access for us? It does take people away from the parking lot, and parking along Mill Lane, but the path that you see there is a construction path.
Okay. All right.
Do the pickleball folks acknowledge the noise issue? And is the pickleball community trying to figure out a way to mitigate the noise issue? Or do they just say that people are well, I'm not going to finish that sentence. I'll stop with the question part.
I will say that like any group, there are very, very reasonable people, and there are some people who just think that it's smoke about nothing. But I think that the argument that we see is, I know that we're sort of riding a crest. There's a wave of interest, there's a wave of popularity in the sport, and the feeling that we should be able to provide because towns have provided, and there's a feeling that this meets our recreational purposes. This meets, it certainly speaks to a demographic that we don't cater towards heavily. There are a lot of different things that I think are pitched to us as this just makes sense. Um, I felt like I was in the middle a little bit of arguing for both sides when we met with the community, and some of the pickleballers came in and said, well, it's not that big a deal as you want this. It's not as big of a concern. This is okay. And residents who may be neighbors who also had energy that was strongly opposed to it. I, I, I don't think they're dealing in reality and the facts, all of them together. And part of the sound study gives us the ability to lead that conversation.
I think, Sanjay, to your point though, like if you dive into the research in general about, or the, I guess the chatter, I should say, in general about pickleball, is like there's a lot in the industry that is looking at quieter paddles,
Yeah.
quieter balls, a
Right.
lot of that stuff, because they do recognize that the noise is becoming
Yeah.
a barrier for them to have access. And so the tough thing is, as we're looking at siting, there's no way for us to enforce and ensure that every single user is using
Yeah, of course.
a quiet
I
paddle, a
understand.
quiet ball,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's enough of them in
Yeah, I
use
understand.
that,
Right.
So I think generally the sport does realize that, but we unfortunately have to assume that some people are using whatever.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. And what's the total budget for this? Sorry if that was said earlier.
I think I think the what, 650? Yeah, I think the ask is 650. Some of it we have CPA funds left over from that
Yeah.
FY23. So,
750 minus 100 of previous
right,
funds. Yeah.
right.
And compared to Kiwanis, this is far removed, or way more removed from any. Maybe there's one house on Mill Lane that's kind of
There's
There's one house.
There's
never
one
seen-
house that's 585 feet to the edge of the property line, and 600 is kind of the distance that was cited to us. And again, though, as Matt kind of pointed out, we also don't have the exact location, so it could be 570 or 575 feet from the final location. That being said, there's one house within that 600-foot radius, and then all the other houses are a little more than at minimum 600. But Ray's also working on that sound study, because sometimes it also depends on the terrain, or if there's, trees or other things. So sometimes it's not the distance is the only thing. So,
Well, I mean, good job, I think. Like, we should be adding recreational opportunities to the town, and this is an addition, and it's been hard, I'm sure, and frustrating for you to try to bring this to a place that you think is really viable. Well, you had it at a place that you thought was viable, but a place that now it appears maybe really viable. And this is the kind of thing we should be doing.
Thank you for saying that, Sanjay. One of the neighbors who had concerns about it. I mean, when pickleball comes up, sometimes that's immediately. I don't know if that's something that we can get back to, but certainly offered some resistance to the idea of it. In the middle of offering that resistance, definitely did go out of their way to tell us that you guys, this is a solid process. You guys are doing your due diligence. This is a solid process. I appreciate the process. I appreciate you coming out and talking to us. I appreciate the work that you're putting in. I appreciate all the information you're giving here. I just don't. I just want to let you know that expect opposition. And so I certainly thank Amy and DPW for the legwork of making that process happen for us, because that's the numbers here. We can talk all we want to about the sentiment and about how it fits our values and what the, riding this popularity in the press. But there is a sense that if we're going to provide those opportunities, if we're going to provide quality opportunities to expand recreation, to give more people and more demographics a piece of the pie here, that that uh that we give them something that is concrete. And this is, like I said, there are other options on the table. There's other things that we can look at. There's complications about CPA, what CPA can and can't fund in terms of partnerships and that sort of thing, where we're still looking at public pickleball in the area. But in terms of our public space, this is our last best attempt at having Amherst public pickleball on town property.
Yeah, so Northampton opened their pickleball courts, which are a lot closer to houses off Birtspitz Road, and I haven't seen any. Well, I don't really know, but haven't seen any complaints.
I've asked a little bit, and they've got peace over there right now. I wonder how stable that is for long term. I've been over there a couple times. I even drove through the neighborhoods that's visually removed, but not in terms of space. They're barely farther than the closest Stanley houses. So there's a lot of similarities to what Northampton built and over at Ray Ullabrook Field and the Stanley in our attempts over at Stanley and Kiwanis. There are a lot of similarities there. We
And South Hadley's are even closer, I think, to houses. They were built earlier, but there was some complaints about noise at the South Hadley ones, but I don't know about recently.
Right.
Oh, they said something about, there was just an article from a couple of months ago. South Hadley Select Board approves 175,000 to fix pickleball courts. So, yeah, I guess just two close by towns to use as reference points.
Mm-hmm. They both did a nice job. I mean, they both did a lot of good lead work out there. South Hadley's court is kind of a model because it's beautiful. I think they certainly invested in a beautiful court that was it was driven by pickleball. And so that it's kind of been a target. It's that it wasn't the first one in the area, but it was one of the first. Using Sanjay's question, we built out. South Hadley built, and they said, "Let's build something beautiful. Let's build something that stands here." And I think they really pushed it out to get the best they could possibly find. And that takes, of course, some maintenance beyond too.
Well, I think Amy and Ray, thank you for keeping work on this. Like, it's got to be hard to work on something that keeps getting put back on your table and to feel like it's never going to get to construction or completion. But I think adding recreational facilities to town is an amazing thing and is good for the community.
So I guess if I can add, like, kind of just my 2 cents on this is, partly why we want to be talking, to Recreation Commission also is so that, one, you guys are aware of the CPA projects that are looking at recreation, but then also so that you guys, in ways that you can think about how you can, promote it, support these ideas if this committee feels that they want to. And so I don't know what ways you guys feel like you can do that, but certainly, when it comes to pickleball, I think if we can't get it past at Groff, we might not, I don't think we have another option. We have looked at every single town-owned land in terms of distance from houses, whether it's flat, whether it has parking, what it would take to get ADA accessibility, whether it has wetlands nearby, what are the permitting, just kind of all the different things. And at this point, unfortunately, we are down to this, one last site. And so if you guys feel strongly about pickleball, we need help to make this happen. And then the same thing with the bathhouse, where we have tried to look at every ways to make that project as small and affordable as possible, but we're kind of at the crossroads where we either have to do something or we have to understand that War Memorial has a couple of years left before the building doesn't pass inspection and the pool's gonna no longer be viable. So that's where we're at.
It seems like with a pickleball, you're gonna have to annex Hadley in order to find anything better. Just take a part of Hadley and say, this is where we're gonna put our pickleball.
Right?
So as a CPAC member, and I don't know what I support it, but I know at first blush, when I first saw it, it was news to me. I don't know, Ray, you said maybe everyone would know the Groff Park. I didn't. So just the visual was makes a lot of sense to me, but I don't know. I'm going to be learning more about what my role is and how I navigate what the committees, the rec committee's opinions, and obviously working with the other people on the CPAC. Is there one other rec project we want to call out? Amy and Ray.
Is there another one that we're missing?
Those are
The skate park?
That was not us. So this one's news to us. What else
that
has
is, I believe that's probably a resident proposal.
But
Okay.
if you want to talk about that with this committee, just so you get their input.
Yeah. Well, and I'm only familiarizing myself with it because, for instance, this diagram, I'm not even sure where they're proposing that it be. So, is this the first time you're seeing this, Ray and Amy?
Yeah.
Okay. And
I had somebody reach out to me and ask about the process, and I think this is what it was about the process
Where-
of
you see some good
Mattoon
Photoshop.
Street. This
Yeah.
is
It
this is
makes
War
it look
Memorial.
legit all of a sudden. So
Yeah, I get that's War Memorial, but where is the skate park
yeah,
portion of it?
So, this is a copy of that 2009
Because this is
Amherst
from
master
that
plan. It's that
athletic
2019.
facilities master plan.
Yeah. So somebody saw that. My guess is that somebody saw that and said, let's reintroduce this and put a skate park in there. What does it say at this site?
doesn't say where though, which a little bit of a non-starter, but maybe there's. I mean, I think we're still in the gathering
Mhm.
information. I need to do some homework and ask questions back. We're all asking questions back to the proposer.
Yeah.
So this is probably preliminary, and then they will come back with maybe something that proposes where it's going to be. So
This
I was gonna say that
this
might be a
feels-
valuable question, is just of this real estate, where are they envisioning?
probably crucial.
because there's a bunch of I don't need to tell you all this. There's a bunch of ideas in here that haven't come to be.
Yeah, I mean, like
Multi-
from the basketball court to the left there. I mean, unless my tree and grounds building is going to be homeless, because they can't fit in the DPW building, but that's where our tree and grounds building is, and then where we store like the tree truck and everything is that fitness circuit that they're showing. So like that's not even usable space right now.
All that gray is concrete. They could just skate there.
Yeah, that's the pool.
Solution. No, I mean, all just the roads and the
Oh, okay.
parking lot. There's a skate
I was
park
like, maybe
there.
that's what we do with War Memorial when we have to close down the pool, is make it a skate park.
um,
Repurposing.
More to come on this. It seems it's cursory, I guess, at this point. So.
That's not unlike our like I think it's when I took over at recreation, I think I was at the next stage of the pickleball conversation. I think that's where pickleball was introduced as a community CPA proposal, and they had been sort of coached by my predecessor here into finding the appropriate site, or you think about this, have you thought about this? And so they catered it that way. I think this is just a step short of where they were when they really drove that first proposal through CPA. So, um, like I said, I will table Cherry Hill off-season programming next time. The next meeting that we have, I can talk to you about our uh, winter, the hibernation season at Cherry Hill, which is Nordic and disc golf, and we're also talking about doing some things inside of the clubhouse. Um, uh, Small community center sort of thing, but trying to help the clubhouse be a little bit of a community center. Get some eyes on Nordic and disc golf in the process also.
Having the clubhouse open with a bathroom and even heated to just not the pipes freezing
Yeah,
would be potentially transformative for Nordic skiing on
yeah.
the weekends.
And so we know that we can't afford to have somebody staffed out there 7 days a week like golf, uh, but we could have times where we say we have activities going on here. Uh, there are little cost things that we have to worry about, but that does having somebody there to be a presence for those drop-in activities, and also having the space available to those drop-in activities to come in and use. That's maybe even sell some concessions.
There is a model in Brattleboro, the Brattleboro Outing Club, that
Brattleboro Outing
uses
Club.
volunteer staffing at they have a very small ski hut. It's much, much smaller than the Cherry Hill Clubhouse.
Okay.
It is staffed entirely by volunteers, as far as I'm aware. Um, Weekends only, that sort of thing, right? Uh,
Yeah.
I think there's appetite for that kind of thing, and there might be people and organizations who are willing to help.
Well, there are other major institutions in town that are in transition right now with space that I think would like to be able to do some programming in the community. And I'm thinking about you, Jones Library.
Yeah.
And so we're talking about trying to use a little bit of that space.
If you want a little bedtime Googling, Ray, Brattleboro Outing Club.
Got it. Hot cocoa, staring at the screen, Brattleboro Outing Club.
Sounds like a
good.
nice evening to me.
So we have that. I guess as we transition out here, the next meeting date I had on
All right,
our,
Ray,
yes,
could I have an item of I don't know
absolutely.
if it's new, I don't know what the formal way to declare it is, but I have an
Yes.
idea that I'd like to say out loud. Um,
Yes.
I I hope we all know that Cape Verde qualified for the World Cup. Do we know that?
We
I did not know that.
Now you know. They're one of the smallest nations to ever qualify for the World Cup. And I was in Dallas last week, but on the day that they qualified, Mary, my wife, reported that she saw Cape Verde flags driving up and down Main Street with horns honking.
I was just about to say, I hope this is where you're leading. We have a lot of Cape Verdeans here in
And
the
we have a
area.
lot of Cape Verdeans in town, and especially in the public school system.
Mhm.
And if Amherst Rec were able to organize watch parties for the Cape Verde games outdoors on the common or at the middle school or high school auditorium or something like that, it would be a serious happening. And
Thank
it
you
would
very
be
much.
also an incredible gesture to one of our immigrant communities.
Thank you very much. I think we can at least look into it. I didn't know they were in, and as
They
soon as
are
you said it, I
in.
said, "Hey, we got a bunch of people who I start to think connection here. Yeah, that's
Yeah, they are very much in, and it's an incredible moment for that country of 500,000 people.
in our
Um,
schools, in the
yep,
colleges. There's there's a large community here.
yep. The woman I buy my tea from in the Blue Wall at UMass many mornings is Cape Verdean,
Mhm.
and I got a big smile and a double high five from her when she realized that I knew that they had made it. And I think, especially for the families and young children in our school system, to have the town acknowledge this moment would be quite amazing.
Thank you. That's a great suggestion. Any other new business? Fun facts? I put on the agenda that the next meeting date, but this was my original proposal when we had the first date, was the next meeting date is November 3rd. That's 2 Mondays from now. We can hold with that. It's the first Monday. I would encourage that. If we're backing up too close, then we can talk about delaying if you need to. Okay. Then in that case, we'll send for November 3rd. Will be the next one, Monday, November 3rd. Thank you all for coming out. We have, and maybe we'll even have some headway in terms of getting 2 seats filled here also in the next couple weeks. Jonas, reach out if anything about the timeline, you need anything from us and Recreation Department on the timeline, reach out to me or Amy if you need any clarification.
Yeah. Will do. Thanks. Yep.
And I guess I'm Andy. I can adjourn. Anybody want a motion to adjourn? Any motion to adjourn?
Certainly
motion
someone
to
wants to
adjourn.
move to adjourn.
I'll
Do I have
move
a
to
s-
adjourn.
I'll second it.
Then let's vote. How many people want?
Do we have to vote to adjourn?
Aye.
No.
Aye.
Vote,
Uh,
vote with our
thank-
feet.
Thank you all. We'll see you on November 3rd.
Okay. Good night, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Right.